Welcome to Coach Magic, the show for the woman who is all in on creating a life, business, and family that's beyond her wildest dreams. I'm Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to help you get confident, focused, and paid. Let's rewrite the rules and get moving in the direction of your deepest desires. Ready, set, go. Okay, everyone, welcome to Coach Magic Live. We're going to have the best talk today. All right, let me tell you about our guest. We have Natalie Bullen. Natalie, do you like to be called Nat? Because I see that on the screen.
It doesn't matter.
So I'm a Jennifer. I go by, it's kind of like the Jennifer, Jenny, Jen. It's like Natalie.
Gotcha. People call me Nat. It's stuck. I'm okay with it.
I hear you. Okay, Nat. I'm going to call you Nat. Nat is a revenue and wealth coach and owner of Unapologetic Wealth. As a powerhouse coach and consultant, and that she positions her clients for wealth by accelerating their revenue with high ticket sales. Welcome to Coach Magic, Nat.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me.
And y'all, we got to celebrate Nat today because it is her business anniversary, her businessversary. 4 years.
Yeah. 4 years today.
4 years. How does that feel?
Weird. I never intended to make it 4 days or 4 minutes or 4 weeks. So 4 years feels like a long time.
4 years. Yeah. And so you wrote an epic post on Facebook today. Facebook, you are prolific on Facebook. That's where I have connected with you. You've done a great job of really showing up with your message. That's why I wanted to bring this Luminary series to the show. You and I haven't really met, like we've interacted a bit online, but I've been podcasting for off and on for 10 years, like dinosaur times. Yeah. And I interviewed a lot of people in my original show, which was called Get Gutsy. And I kind of needed to pause. I just felt like it was done. And then I worked Coach Magic, and it was really mostly a solo show. But over the last few months, I said, I'm just feeling the desire to bring really cool guests on that have strong messages and really, they've built strong platforms. And your post was the one to inspire me when you're like, hey, who wants to interview me on your podcast? And that's what I love about you. You're just very bold. And it's like the name of your company, Unapologetic. So you listed out 4 lessons today that you've learned in 4 years of wealth and business. And I'd love to talk about some of those. Like, let's
That's fun.
Let's do it. So the first one you said is wealth isn't built on effort alone. It's built on ownership. Tell us more.
We are conditioned to be consumers and to buy things. And there's also been a shift away from ownership into renting. When I was younger, you actually bought physical CDs. You bought physical vinyl. You bought cassette tapes. You owned a little piece of something. Now you subscribe to Apple Music. You subscribe to YouTube. You don't ever own the rights to the music anymore, right? And there's a lot of industries where that has shifted, and consumers are just used to spending money on something that's kind of borrowed to a large degree. But when you want to be wealthy, you have to own something, whether that's your intellectual property, shares of stock, real estate, something that has to be yours. It can't all be on borrowed land. I make a ton of money on Facebook, but don't let anybody tell you, oh yeah, it's okay to never, ever actually own your audience, your CRM, your lead gen. You can just put it out there on someone else's thing. It's like, that's how you work forever. I am not a work forever person. I'm not one of those. I'm in my dream job, people. I would love to never work again, lasagna and lay out on the Amalfi Coast. So for me, it's how can I start to have my money work on my behalf and use leverage to actually own things. So when people want to come and use my IP or partner with Unapologetic Wealth, they have to pay for that because I have ownership to that intellectual property. And when my business gets on my nerves, I put money in the stock market.
That's so good. That's so good. You put yes, exactly.
It works anytime. I have a stock market funds. I think it's around $16,000 extra dollars that I've put in it over the years.
And you do that, is there a particular brokerage company or how do you do that for somebody who doesn't invest yet? How does somebody kind of like get in that, like, okay, my business pissed me off. Well, how do I then go invest in something?
I know, right? Caveat, Natalie used to be a licensed, registered financial advisor. Mm-hmm. So put an asterisk there. I would tell someone to talk to their financial planner or go to the custodian. So if you're with Vanguard or Wells Fargo or Charles Schwab, pick up the phone so you can get some advice that's tailored to you. Don't take advice about stocks from unlicensed people on the internet.
Good tip, hot tip. But I love that conversation about investing. I say to my clients all the time, you want to make sure your money is working for you and not just you working for your money. Even if you do love what you do and you're like, I never imagined myself being sick of this and wanting to be done. Well, life happens. And
that's what I'm about to say. And it might not be you. Your parents get sick. You could have a child that needs additional care. There's lots of things in life that are completely outside of our control. Even getting married. What if your spouse needs additional care? So, it's easy to say I'll always have the space, time, bandwidth to be able to do this thing, but it's kind of naive. It's not really true. You don't really know that. And what you don't want is to be in a business that only makes money when you show up and then you can't show up anymore. Right.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people in this online space are in that, and
we all start there. The goal is to not stay there. Yeah,
exactly. It's like you have to evolve. And I think I think you two probably serve a lot of coaches. I do as well. I think when you shift out of like the one-on-one only model and you move into groups and things like that, you feel like you've gained leverage and you've gained time and you tend to be able to amplify your money because you can serve more people. But we can't stop there. I think that's your point. Right. Like, we can't stop there. It's not like, well, I did it. No, but then, hey, how are you making your money work for you? Because like you said, life happens. And then sometimes a program.
And group coaching program isn't as scalable as people think. You still have to show up. You still have to coach all those people. You still have to get feedback. You still have to pour into them. You might still need a program director. Like if you're the only coach in your group coaching program, that doesn't give you freedom. Mm-hmm. Don't show up for a few weeks and see what happens. Right. So it's like, are you having licensing deals? Is there a way that people can get certified in your method? Like to me, scalable means you can put an infinite number of people into this program. Mm-hmm. Most group coaching programs would not fit that parameter. They have a number where this is a good program, and then past that number, things kind of fall apart, So it's really important for me, at least, to be thinking, how do I build a business that is not going to require my consistent direct effort indefinitely?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I went through a pretty interesting shift a few years back because, again, I just been doing this for so long that you do go through evolutions. And I remember just feeling like, because my roots were in corporate, I started my career in New York City, and it was funny. A lot of times I did make good money there. So, but when I left, I was like, bye, see ya. But then a few years ago, I go, wait, I care about those people. I care about that world. And what I have learned on these entrepreneur streets and really deepening to my own craft, I believe I can bring that into that world. And so I was able to secure some high level contracts and this kind, regular revenue that's coming in. That's not a constant selling every moment that I was so used to. And it was a nice way, kind of another idea to consider, just to give you a bit more solid ground, and it changes the energy. If you're not wanting to be doing some of what maybe you were doing in the past, it's like being creative with how can you apply your skills to new markets, and to just change the game. I think it's just an interesting idea to consider. I want to hear, let's go into this because I freaking love this. As when you wrote this, I was like doing a happy dance because people need to hear this. The price of access will always go up.
It's true. Unequivocally. We think if I don't buy this program now, if I don't buy this treadmill now, if I don't buy this membership now, if I don't get my hair done this weekend, that I'll always have access to that thing. That's what the human condition tells us, but we are wrong. Mm-hmm. And there's so many times in my life where I was on the tail end of being right. I remember there was a consultant I wanted to work with for PR. Mm-hmm. And I had been following her and I applied because she had an application, which I really liked because that meant she wasn't working with just anybody, right, and that she was actually going to make sure that I was a good fit and could get a result. So I actually like being screened. Mm-hmm. And I got approved. And then they sent me a link and the VIP day was $5,000. Now, my VIP at the time was $5,000, but I let people put down a 50% deposit and pay the other balance maybe 3 days before the VIP day. Mm-hmm. I assume this is what everyone did. They do not. So she was like, no, you pay the $5,000 and that's how you book the date. Mm-hmm. And she was booking out 3 months in advance. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to tie up $5,000 in February and we can't meet until May, right? Mm-hmm. So I waited. And eventually I pulled the trigger. Well, 2 weeks after my VIP day, I go online and someone's like, I've never seen someone sell a VIP day straight page, meaning price is on the page and you just go to Calendly, you click the link, you book it, you pay the money. Right. I said, I have. Let me send you the link to this VIP day that I bought. It was $7,500. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks after I had it, like procrastinating almost cost me $2,500. And I mean, even on a smaller scale, I got my nails done like a day or two ago. I'm a nail person. That's the thing. Even when COVID was happening, Natalie was getting her nails. Natalie's a nail person. But the day after I got my nails done, my nail tech made an announcement that she was canceling all appointments for future notice.
Really?
And I checked in and she's okay. But my point is, had I waited, I felt like crap the other day. I didn't want to go. I wanted to cancel, just pay her the money and get back on the books for later this week when I had more time. How would that have worked out? So the price of access goes up, whether it's inflation. And when price, it's not always dollar amount. Maybe the person you wanted to work with stops doing that work altogether. Correct. That could be a price, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there are people who like, Natalie, I've been wanting to work with you and I'm saving up the money. And like, I respect that. And I'm never going to tell somebody mortgage your house or I don't do that. You come up with the money. You're an adult. I sell to adults. I don't sell to children. So you know what you can afford. But it's interesting because in my mind, I'm like, the price is only going up. This year, I'm going to be doing much less private coaching at a much higher rate just because of the expenditure of time. I am so involved with my private clients that I have to charge a premium. So the waiting that people do, and to a lesser level, procrastination in general is expensive because you are foregoing the result that you could have been getting. If I want to lose weight now, but I don't start until June, the emotional weight, the mental weight, the physical weight of carrying this weight on my body for 6 more months is an expense. So it's a tax. And that's what I think people don't recognize. I think people somehow think if I wait, the price is going to go down. But historically, that's not really true. And that's not really true in any industry. But I blame the public school system. People do not know economics. In general, people don't understand inflation or, like these are terms people say, but I don't think they really get them. I saw an article once that said that like a third of Americans thought that when inflation was down, that prices had dropped. No, inflation is down just means that inflation is not rising at the rate that it had been. The prices are still up. They're just not up as rapidly.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. In order for prices down, we would have something called deflation, which has not been around in quite some time. So just the fact that people are kind of like, well, I'm just going to wait, I'm going to go to your class later, or my favorite, Natalie, are you going to offer this program, 6 or 12 months from now? I don't know. Maybe if that's what's in our plan, if that's what's in my time constraint, if that's what's in my spirit to do, if you really want to get it, you should get in it now. Asking somebody what they intend. Well, is it going to be this price in a year? why would anyone say yes to that? Why would anyone agree to something that crazy, right? So like, I always tell people no, just because I feel like that's a safe answer. But like the answer is, I don't know, because I'm doing this out quarter by quarter, year by year. It's so rapid in my business, but it is expensive to wait.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. And it's so true. You're making me think of something I was a part of years back. I'm very into yoga. I trained to become a yoga teacher when I was leaving my corporate life. And that actually led me to discover coaching. So it was a really incredible experience. And I practice a lot of yoga now. That is my key to sanity and wellness and in all of it. And years ago, when I went through yoga teacher training, this was in 2007, is when I was really like, what am I doing with my life? And I went through this yoga teacher training and it changed me for the better. I mean, it was so powerful. And if you know the history of yoga, it originated in India. And I said at that time, I'm going to go to India. I'm going to go to India at some point. I don't know how that's going to look or exactly how it's going to take shape. I know my husband won't want to go with me because he doesn't have the desire. So I gotta get there somehow. I just kind of put it out there. Well, 10 years later, I get this catalog from a place. I live in the Berkshires, Western Massachusetts. I get this catalog from a place called Kripalu. They do all this wellness programming and retreats and things like that. And for the first time ever, they were taking a group to India. And I know this place. I do a lot of programs with them. And my friend and I have been meeting there for the last few years. She'd fly up from Miami. And we do a weekend program. And I sent her the note and I said, how about we do this summer? We go to India. And it was the year we were turning 40. And it was the month of my birthday. It was kind of like everything lined up. But it was, it was a $10,000 investment. It was like going to India with people I don't know. But something inside me said, do it. And she said the same thing. We went, I will tell you, Nat, they've never since hosted that event again. They never took another group. It was because the CEO at that time was really into it. He was part of it. And his wife was actually one of the teachers on the trip. He's no longer the CEO. It was like, it was this moment in time.
It was a moment and it never happened again. And so anybody who was thinking, I'm going to go next time. That looks great. I don't have the money. I'm too busy. They just missed out forever, And like, if you really can't make something work, we're not saying make it work.
Yes.
But if you could make it work, you should make it work. What I've learned is that there's never a good time.
Correct.
It wasn't a good time for me today to meet with you. Not really. It wasn't a perfect time. It wasn't like I have nothing to do today. Today's a big day, right? Today is a day people are like, celebrate, go to the spa, make a lot of money, like the resounding do a lot of stuff, right? But I was like, this is important. And frankly, tomorrow's not a good day. And the weekends are out and Mondays aren't great. And like so like whatever day we would have picked, there would have been some conflict of what else should I be doing? That never goes away. Sometimes you just have to say, this is an important priority and just stick to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Show up for yourself because the price will always go up. It's never a good time. There's always something else that you could be doing, but it's really this vision of like, who am I becoming? What is it that I'm passionate about? And what rooms do I want to show up in? And how will me showing up in those rooms change the game? Just this week, I went to Boston. I do a lot of work with this organization. They cater to senior executive women. It's really exciting. These are heads of $1 million companies, $1 billion companies. It's amazing just to be in that energy. And I was brought in to facilitate a dinner conversation. And these women's minds are blown because this is in Boston. I'm 2 hours from Boston. And they're like, what? You drive 2 hours here to do this? And then you're going back? I'm like, yeah. And it's not convenient, but this is my life. This is my craft. This is what I'm here to do. And so I think people do need that reminder. Stop looking for it to be convenient. Stop looking for it to be just super easy for you. It's going to feel hard at times. So your third lesson, Nat, is money doesn't make you a better person, but it does make you more of who you already are. Let's talk about that.
This is really going to be the this is the thing. Rich you is the real you.
Okay. Rich you is the real you.
Yeah, money reveals. So we've been taught that money corrupts, or at minimum, money changes you.
Okay.
That you whoever you are is going to change if you have a lot of money. So people are terrified of actually getting rich because being rich apparently turns you into a prince, right? Mm-hmm. I would argue that the way that you are when you are well resourced, that's the real you. What you would do if you didn't have to work, if you didn't need another dollar, and how you would spend your time, that's the real you. And until you get really rich, you don't actually know who the real you is.
Right.
And so I invite people to say money makes more of you. So don't be afraid of getting rich. Be excited about it, because it's going to give you the space to be able to explore, what kind of person am I really?
Yes. And isn't that the question that we are here to answer in this life? Who am I really? Who am I really?
Who am I really? Yeah. But like, I can tell you, I've been paycheck to paycheck. I've worked 2-3 jobs. I definitely was not that person. People used to say, Natalie, you're such a workaholic. I hate work. I'm absolutely not a workaholic. That's what I needed to be to not be homeless. See, but it was absolutely not my desire was to do a lot of work.
That
was never the case. Right. That was never the case. But that's how people perceived me. People perceived me as a person who liked to work because I worked a lot. But it wasn't my desire to work a lot. So that's why I tell people, look, the money makes you more of you. Rich you is the real you. That's why I'm so excited about getting richer and richer and richer. Because that gives me more space to get closer to who I'm supposed to be.
Yes. When you take away some of those day-to-day fears of like that, the paycheck to paycheck and because we don't tend to be who we are designed to be if we are just living in a perpetual state of fear. That's not a great way to be.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully I haven't been broke in a while, but even middle class people are feeling the squeeze.
Oh yeah.
With inflation, right? So like, to me, if you stop working and your income stops, then that's applicable.
Yeah.
Doing something that you might not do if you didn't have to. I know me. I would like to live my life like Garfield the cat. I would like to lay out on a chaise and eat lasagna. That is what I would prefer. That would be an ideal life for me. So I'm just waiting until my passive investments can cover my lasagna lifestyle.
That's your motivation. I love that. That's such a great visual. But it's also powerful for our listeners to consider, what does that look like for them? Like if you could design that day and you could take away some of the concerns about money and how am I paying for this and how am I paying for that, how would you live? Who would you be around? Right. Like who would you be helping?
People with money. I have clients who are running 8-figure businesses. That doesn't mean that they're serving the clients they want. A lot of people are doing things because that's what has paid them historically. Right. It's really easy to get trapped in your zone of excellence. And your zone of excellence probably pays really well. So it's really not even like not having money, because I know millionaires who are doing things, multimillionaires who are doing things they don't actually want to do. They're just getting really well compensated for it. I had a client who charges $100K for private coaching. She hated the kind of clients that she got.
Wow.
She didn't want to give it up because she made $100K for coaching. She didn't like the people she was coaching. So like, if you're any decision you're making that you wouldn't make if it wasn't for the money, is likely a misaligned decision. And so like, I'm not telling you to close your whole business down overnight, but start thinking about, what would I prefer to be doing? So you can have a North Star to get out, so you don't keep building the same business every year. Because if you hate your business, but it's the business you're building, 10 years from now, you're just going to have a really well-oiled machine of something you don't like.
Exactly. And that stuff also, it takes a toll on your health. And I talk a lot about that in my work, because I don't care, even if you're really wealthy, if your health takes a real dive, like sometimes all the money in the world isn't gonna help you, like you're screwed. So you've got to be mindful, and it is not easy to make some big changes and have to fire clients or close this down and start this other thing instead. But it's really a matter of life and death. And who else are you showing up for out there? You've got family, you've got, your community, you've got other people who they want you to be here, and they want you to be healthy and to feel happy, I believe that that's our right here. Like, why are we here? Why are we here? Just for it to be drudgery? Like, that's really the point of all of it?
That's not good enough for me.
Right. Exactly. It's like, especially when you have your own business, you get to decide.
That's the whole point, right? You get to pick your clients, you get to pick the offers, you get to pick the price point. I think that's what makes it hard for people. We're accustomed to those decisions being made on our behalf. And so when we are the architect of all the decisions, it's a lot more difficult. It's why I tell people not to race and quit your corporate job. I'm like, your job is doing stuff you don't even recognize, like lead gen. Most people have never worked in a sales or marketing position in their company.
Right.
So they don't know what it's like to actually be responsible for getting the business. That's a job. It's a big job. It's a big job.
Right. When you have your own business, you're wearing so many different hats. Like my last corporate job, I worked at a conference production company, and I did a lot of research with executives asking about their biggest challenges. And my job was to create the content. I created the experience. I had somebody else who was the marketer. I had somebody else who was the salesperson, and multiple salespeople selling to different kinds of people in different sorts of markets. And so then you have your own business. You're like, oh wait, I'm all of those things. I'm all of those things, and it does require a certain kind of person who is willing to go for it. So what I say to my clients a lot is just take the next right step. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And it's kind of not a right or wrong. It's just make a decision. Make a decision because you get data from the decision. And then if you realize, hey, that wasn't the best decision, all right, make another one. Like, let's change it. So let's talk about your fourth lesson, Nat. Wealthy people don't just build businesses, they build themselves. Talk about that.
Oh, man. We've all fallen in the trap. You hire a business coach, you hire an executive coach, you hire process improvement people, operations systems, etc. How are you pouring into you? 2022, I realized I had spent a fortune on improving the business and nothing on improving myself. I didn't like that. And later I've realized that your business can't grow beyond your personal capacity. So if you have a mindset block or an embodiment issue or etc., that's not, you're not going to out earn that as the primary salesperson, marketer, founder of your business. And so now I'm really big on the non-business stuff. Today, I actually launched the Cashmere Club, which is a sisterhood and friendship community. And you know why I launched it? Because I could not find one. I could not find a community anywhere that was not coaching plus community, retreat plus community, mastermind plus community, live conference plus community. People tack community on as though it's a throwaway. Like, oh yeah, you'll meet some people. Why is friendship lesser value than coaching? Why would, if I said this was a high level executive mastermind, I could get 10x the price for it.
Okay.
But business is not the only important thing in my life. It's not even the most important thing in my life. It's not the most interesting thing about me. Unapologetic Wealth is a teeny sliver of me, but people see me as a business person. So I started talking to women and they're like, I'm lonely. I don't have anyone that gets it. I make more than my husband. I make more than my friends. I feel a little isolated. I wish we had mixers. I wish we could hang out. So one time I was visiting Atlanta and I had a mixer, no agenda, no cost, just come out and meet. We had such a good time. Talk about business. We just got to know each other. And I realized then we are starved for connection. Starved. We're just coached out. And I'll always be a coach and I always love my coaching clients. But sometimes you just want to vent. You just want to talk. You just want to meet up for tacos and margaritas. Like you don't always want to be like, do you always want to be business Jenny? Do you really want me texting you going, I think your podcast is amazing. How many downloads did it get last week? Like I remember being on bed rest. I had open abdominal myomectomy. I had about 7 pounds of uterine fibroids removed.
Wow.
And I have a vertical scar that is from my pubic bone up above my belly button.
Wow.
Okay. So about 3 C-sections worth of scar. Vertical. Yeah. And the day after my surgery, I got a message from someone who said, hey, I know you're in bed and you're probably bored. Can you look at my sales page and let me know what you think?
Mm-hmm.
And she was serious.
Wow.
And she really thought in her heart of hearts that I gave a damn about her sales page.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing I had surgery. She started with that. I know you had surgery and that's when I realized two things. One, most of these online entrepreneurs are completely crazy. And two, that when you only lead with I care about business, people think that's all you do. Yeah. So I'm elated to have a space where I can be a client. Like, you know, we're gonna have a facilitator, we're gonna be around, but baby, Natalie is in the club. Okay. I am in the club. The club is for me. I'm making the friends are making me. Yes. And I'm just so excited to not have to answer questions like, Nat, can you look at my phone on Nat? Did you listen to my podcast? Nat, did you? Right. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, you know, I just want to be able to have like ask for great recommendations for like stem cell research or like, I don't know, you know, I'm planning on buying my husband a car and he's not a fancy luxury car. He drives a subcompact. So like, and I'm not subcompact world. So I'm like, okay, what's the nicest car I could buy him without him rebelling? Those are the kinds of questions I want to ask, you know? So I'm so happy to be in that space. And I think every entrepreneur needs a non-business space. You need a life coach or a wellness coach. Go to yoga, go to therapy, please. Go to church if you're inclined. You got to do something that enriches you. Read books that aren't about business. Read fiction books. Read novels. Books. Read novels. Read coming of age stories. Watch a little television. Shark Tank. Okay, like actually, they do something because we get so immersed. We hyper commit.
Yes.
Hyper commit to these businesses, and then we wonder why we don't have friends anymore, why we don't have sex with our partner, why we look very, very stressed, why we've put on 50 pounds, why we've let ourselves go. We wonder, you know, there was a time where I would have shown up to this podcast looking real bedraggled. Okay. Exactly. Looking real tired with a t-shirt on because I didn't get any sleep last night because I was thinking about the next plan. And this morning I woke up early. I put on a beautiful face of makeup. I curled my hair a little bit. I zhuzhed. I made sure I had a cute little ruffly top since I don't really wear jewelry. I don't look like I've been through hell. Right. There was a period of entrepreneurship where I looked like I had been through hell because that's how I felt. Right. So it's so important for us to give back to ourselves. Having a business that's thriving when your marriage fails, you barely see your kids, your health is horrible, you don't get any sleep, you're on a lot of medication, you didn't win. Exactly. That's not winning the entrepreneurship lottery. So we have to be careful with glorifying unbalanced lifestyles. 100%. And a lot of the gurus that you see telling you to work day and night, they have teams. They have content teams. They have stay-at-home wives. They have nannies, au pairs, chefs, chauffeurs. Stop trying to live up to people who have a whole support team of W2 employees. Right? Exactly. Yeah, the bros. Yeah.
Bros. That's why we have to embrace who we are as women in business. We do it different. And that's what makes it so beautiful. But what I love about what you do, well, a couple things. One, you created the space that you wanted to exist, like with this Cashmere Club. And I want you to tell people if they want to get in on this, apply. I think you've got a wait list. Today's your opening, right? Your opening day.
They can go to the site. It's up at the top of the unapologeticwealth.com site. It says Cashmere Club. They can jump on in.
Nice. I'm wearing cashmere right now.
We are giving all of our founders a customized cashmere piece with the logo. So yeah. Founding members get a piece of cashmere, honey. We are doing it up.
Okay. So you created a space that you wanted to be in, and that is a great takeaway for everybody listening. Create what you want. This is what I want. I want to be in this. Like, you should want to be in your thing. Okay. Number one, and on point with you got to take care of yourself in business. If you have like destroyed everything that was important to you in this quest to have something that you thought was successful, you didn't win. I know we're just about at time, but I wanted to, you posted something recently. I thought it was just, this is how I think of you. And I thought it was so on point. You shared somebody's post and you said, you can be salesy or you can be broke.
That was almost the name of my book.
What is your name? What is your book?
You know what? We don't know. That's a great question. I'm still feeling into it, but that was almost the title. You could. It was either going to be you could be salesy or you could be broke, or salesy or broke, and then a tagline. If you search my page, if you search Natalie sales or broke, you'll find the post. It's actually hilarious. But here's the thing: we think that selling to people is harmful because of our money mindset. If you think that money equals safety, listener, that's what you believe, then it will be impossible for you to sell ethically. Because when you sell, you believe that you are taking someone's safety away because you are asking them for money. So if you believe that money makes you safe, why would you make people unsafe by taking money from them? That's why sales feels difficult. And so people will try to do anything they can other than just ask you for the money. I'm going to be asking people for money all day, probably really obnoxiously, emphatically on the internet all day. I'm going to be encouraging people. I'm going to encourage you. Join the Cashmere Club. Get in here with your peers. Get in here with high income, high net worth, affluent women who get it. Get in here. We have a motherhood pod and we have the guy girl pod, and you can have nice conversations. You get in the Cashmere Club. I'm going to shout it from the rooftop. I'm going to tell people to pay me today. It's urgent. It's super important. Come into the movement. And people are like, I don't know if I would do that, Nat. That seems kind of tacky. No one says that when Coca-Cola runs a sale. No one says that when, Rolls-Royce takes out a full page ad or is on Times Square. No one says that when every other company advertises. You have to separate you from your business. Unapologetic Wealth has to sell every day or it will cease to exist. It's not about what Natalie wants. It's not about what Natalie needs. I don't even get all the money. I'm payroll. Right. I have an escort. I have a set salary. So people might think, well, what are you're asking people to pay your bills? That's what every business does. Every business is asking you to give them enough money where they have profit and can make payroll. I don't know any company who has not made that fact. Don't get it twisted thinking, well, I'm a smaller business. That's why you need the money even more.
Yes.
Coca-Cola can absorb a bad year. They can lose $10 million. Uber lost billions with a B. The first 7 years they were unprofitable. They lost $13 billion before they made any profit. You don't have that runway, sis. You don't have $13 billion. You don't have $13 million. You don't have $13,000 if you're like the average American. This either got to work or it's got to work.
Right.
And selling is service. People are elated to get in Cashmere Club. It is solving a big problem for them. People love getting in my private coaching. It is solving a big problem for them around their identity and their authority and their willingness to show up and show out and charge more money and create legacy and wealth for their children. I am doing a public service by allowing people to buy things from Unapologetic Wealth. I don't have to run this business. Do you know how fine I am? I can get like a sugar daddy and just ride off into the sunset. I actually don't have to coach anyone.
Right.
It's a blessing to me to be able to, but it's a blessing for people also to experience it. We have to stop downplaying our gift and acting as though people's lives will be just as good if they didn't pay us as they would be if they do.
Correct.
That's not true. Sales is service. You have to put it out there. So if it's salesy or broke, baby, I just can't see myself calling Huntsville Utility saying I was going to pay y'all on time. But I didn't really want to be pushy online this month. I was going to kind of just kind of pepper my posts with DM me sometimes. And then I was just going to wait on kind of word of mouth, but the words weren't really moving out the mouths the way that they should have this month. So I'm not going to be able to pay you. Imagine me telling my husband, I know you need a new car. And I know you entrust me as a primary income in our household to make sure everything is fine. But I don't know. I was worried about somebody judging me if I was a little too salesy. So that's why I can't help you buy a car. How ridiculous does that sound? I can't imagine myself calling my mortgage company. I give both of my parents an allowance. My dad's in the hospital right now. I wish I would call the hospital and go, well, Dad, I'm sorry I can't help you this month. Someone called me salesy and it really hurt my feelings. What's going on? I can't see anybody's opinion that doesn't pay my bills being something that I am going to be advocating for. I can't see it.
That is it. y'all, that's the note we got to go out on. I know people needed to hear that today. And thank you for delivering that message, because a lot of people are in that boat. I don't want someone to call me salesy, because then it's tacky, or then it's, it can make you feel really uncomfortable, but this is going to be uncomfortable. It's more uncomfortable to be to do this and get the money that you need to live your life and to pay your people and all that stuff, than to be in a place where you can't do that. That's way more uncomfortable. So thank you, Nat, for bringing your truth to us today. Okay, so unapologeticwealth.com. That's your home base. That's where you want to take people. And I know you're super prolific on Facebook, so everybody needs to follow you there.
I know, right? I'm getting better. I'm trying to cap myself to 3 posts a day.
You're bringing it down. But you've done an incredible job. I just want to celebrate you and witness you. You are just out there, and I feel honored that we got to talk today on your 4-year business anniversary. What you have done in 4 years is really, really huge. And I can't wait to see what you do the next 4 years, and the next, and like one day Garfield, the lasagna, on the beach. And
listen, it's going to be the best thing ever. Me and the lasagna. I know people are going to listen to this and they're going to go, that Natalie woman was nuts about lasagna. It doesn't have to be lasagna. Shrimp Alfredo would be permissible.
You're good with that.
Just, you know what? Just any Americanized Italian food. How about that?
I am with you.
If Americans think it's Italian, I want it.
Yes. I will join you in that. I'm a big fan as well. Okay, everybody, go check out Nat, unapologeticwealth.com. Follow her. Learn from her. She is the real deal. Thank you so much for being here today, Nat. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of Coach Magic. This is Jenny Fenig, and we will see each other again soon.